What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming here, and welcome back to episode number 15 of my F1 2021 My Team. And today we have the American Grand Prix around Circuit of the Americas. And first things first, to start off the episode, just looking at the driver market, planning for next year, because I do plan on having a new driver, and I'm thinking about one of the veterans, either Kimi Räikkönen, Sebastian Vettel, or Fernando Alonso. Now, Fernando is apparently the cheapest option, and he is also the fastest in terms of pace. So, and he brings the experience, obviously, with the resource points. So it's probably something I will be looking to get. I'm definitely looking to bring in a more experienced driver next season, and if I can bring in someone like Fernando Alonso, that would be brilliant. And now, having a look at the last few results here, you can see what's been happening. You can see Hamilton has still quite a nice lead in the championship, although Valtteri Bottas has been on an absolute tear as of the recent run of form. You can see he's won quite a few Grand Prix, just closing that gap ever so much and making this a bit of a battle for the World Drivers' Championship. Anyway, now having a look at our engine components, you can see that we've got some fresh units to put in and not have to take a penalty. So we're going to put in all the new components that we can and not take a penalty, and we'll see how that goes throughout the weekend and if that helps us in terms of performance. So yeah, good news there. So we get some new bits on the car. So excuse me. We now jump into the weekend here and qualifying for the US Grand Prix. So this one is a good track for the AI, and it's going to be a difficult one. They're going to be strong in that first sector, so we will have to deal with that as we can. So anyway, moving on here, and you can see we got Max Verstappen, who we let through at turn 1. This is on our outlap, first outlap of qualifying. Then he lets us back through because the AI being the AI. And then as I come through the right-hander here, I just see Max come up the inside and gives me a nice tap on the rear, which I wasn't expecting. And going onto his onboard here, just having a look, and yeah, it just comes in guns blazing and just completely touches my rear, only slightly, and it was enough to spin me around. Anyway, so that was that in qualifying. Then here you got Fernando Alonso out of the session here. Now, that's the second consecutive qualifying session that Fernando has not done qualifying, where his car has failed him. So he's going to be at the back yet again. Disappointment for Alonso, and maybe some cracks appearing with him and his relationship at Alpine. Anyway, moving on to our first actual qualifying lap now. We've got the other Red Bull, Sergio Perez, overtaking us on our qualifying lap. He started very close behind on the lap, and he has ended up overtaking me during our lap, because obviously the Red Bull is a much faster car, which is really annoying, really frustrating, probably for both of us, because he gets a slower lap in, I get a slower lap in, because we are battling on our fast laps. So yeah, I do a 32.8, obviously slower than the likes of Latifi and Schumacher, which wasn't good. So anyway, moving on to our next lap, and it's much improved here. A bit wide at the last chicane there. Obviously this is the same set of tyres, and we probably cost ourselves about a tenth of a second there. Not the last chicane, the last corner, but yeah, probably cost ourselves a tenth of a second. We're actually slower than teammate Lundgaard, we're slower than Schumacher, only faster than Mazepin, even slower than Latifi in the Williams. But here on our next run, fresh set of tyres, coming through the S's and coming through turn 9, and we just loop it. We spin the car, and that's qualifying over. We're going to be starting this one from right down the back, 20th on the grid. You can see Verstappen actually picked up a penalty. I wonder if that was actually... I should have looked. I didn't even realise at the time. This is the first time I said it. Didn't realise it while I was playing. I wonder if that was because he spun me. But knowing that we're starting at the back, I decided to take some penalties, get some fresh on the not on the bits that weren't so fresh. So yeah, we take a ICE and an energy store. So now let's just give it to Crofty, and he'll give an intro to the race.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles an hour, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the very long back straight into Turn 12. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into Turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into Turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, and Verstappen. Stroll, Hamilton. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Norris and George Russell. Lundgaard, Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty. Jackson and Vettel. Raikkonen, Ocon. Antonio Giovinazzi, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Mick Schumacher. Fernando Alonso, Latifi, Mazepin, and Yuki Tsunoda. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So, welcome everybody to the US Grand Prix. You can see the game, it hasn't recognised that I've taken my penalty, but it has as well. So, the game thinks I'm starting in 13th on on my steering wheel. It says I'm 13th, and on the grid, where it shows the grid, it had me 13th. But it also had me in the correct car slot, which is last on the grid. So I am starting from last in today's race. But it was very confusing at the time. And anyway, looking at strategy, we're probably going to stretch this into a one-stop strategy. It does say two-stop strategy, but you can do a soft to medium compound. The tyres are able to last. So that's what we will be doing today. So take some fuel out the car, as always. When you do your practice, you kind of know exactly how much fuel you need. But anyway, hear me out on the formation lap. I thought I'll try and drive to 13th, see if I'm actually supposed to be 13th. And there, trying to overtake the cars, I slightly touched Giovinazzi. I knew he was going to come across, and I tried to get out of the way, and I couldn't in time. And now it disqualified us from this formation lap, which was expected. And then I didn't show my graphic here, but I've absolutely got no tyre temperature. Anyway, lights out, and away we go here for the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. But I've got absolutely no tyre temperature, so I was very cautious off the line here. Braked very early in the turn 1. Didn't bother battling here because I didn't know how much wheel spin I was going to get. You can see the cars ahead 3 wide, and I just struggled to get the power down a bit there. And they're still going 3 wide. Tsunoda, Mazepin, and Alonso. This is very hectic, and Mazepin gets ahead of Tsunoda. Alonso gets ahead of a lot of them, so experience showing there. But yeah, I was very cautious here, and you can see that AOA in one line. I tried to drive around the outside. You see, I've still got no grip there, so I had to just hold my line. Then coming into turn 11 or 12, 11, I believe. Yep, turn 11. AOA braked a bit slowly, so I was able to go down the inside of Tsunoda, Mazepin, and now we're side by side with Fernando Alonso. It's Renault engine versus Honda engine, and it looks like the Honda engine is going to win out, although the Renault engine is coming back. I think he's using more of the battery. I brake late, and we've got the inside line. Alonso's still there on the outside, but we managed to squeeze him out. and take 19th position. So after half a lap, the tyres have come up to temperature a little bit now, and I'm feeling more confident. And we're going down the inside of Latifi, and the AI, of course, at turn 15 don't recognise that you're there and just turn it on you anyway. So a bit of contact there with Latifi, but no harm done. We move up into 18th position, and now we are following Mick Schumacher and Antonio Giovinazzi, with Valtteri Bottas leading the race. You've got a McLaren in the pit lane, actually. I did not realise this when I was playing the game live once again, and I have only just realised this now, recording, and it's Daniel Ricciardo into the pit lane for a front wing, I would assume. We go down the inside of Mick Schumacher into turn 1, late on the brakes, and a nice clean overtake there on Mick for now 16th position. Now, same lap here, lap 2 still, getting a nice toe on Giovinazzi, and we're going to have a look to the inside here. We are going to have a look to the inside. We're going to go late on the brakes and make another nice clean overtake on Antonio Giovinazzi for position 15. So we're making places here in the race. And now we've got Esteban Ocon here on the next lap. We've got a good slipstream. This time he goes defensive. We're going to go to the inside still, and now we're going to brake on the inside line and take the position here into turn 12, and that is now P14 for us. So next up is Sebastian Vettel coming here into turn 1. Are we going to have a look into turn 1? We are going to have a look into turn 1, late on the brakes. We get to the apex fully alongside. Vettel turns in and hits us, but we manage to take away position 13. Next up, Kimi Räikkönen here on lap 6. We are making a charge through the field. We've got a good run here. You can see how nice our engine is compared to the Ferrari in the back of the Alfa Romeo. Kimi goes defensive. I go to the outside. Around the outside of Kimi Räikkönen here at turn 12. That's the first time on the outside. And now that turns to the inside for 14. And we are able to get that move done. But Räikkönen's not giving up. He's now trying to get the switch back, but we've still got the inside line for turn 15 here. And we manage to take the position from Kimi Räikkönen. Next up, Pierre Gasly, as Daniel Ricciardo would say it, but yeah, Gasly up next. And we're getting a good run here with DRS once again, and using our battery on Gasly. Gasly goes to the inside, we go to the outside once again here on Gasly, and we brake, but we can't brake too late because of Norris, and Gasly actually sends one on Lando Norris. Pierre Gasly with an overtake here for 10th place on Norris and goes into the points. Not happy there, Lando. And as we're coming from the exit of 14 through 15, the car just spins. I still don't know how it spins. I didn't go that aggressively on the throttle. I didn't do anything different on that lap to the other 7 laps prior. It just spun on this occasion for whatever reason. Didn't have the grip. I don't know. Maybe that's a sign that the tyres are getting a bit old, but we've dropped quite a lot of time, and we've gone all the way from 12th back to 19th position. So just lost 7 places. All that hard work we've done in the opening 7 laps just gone to
Tyre
waste.
condition is still
a few cars
good.
starting to pit now, and that is Nicholas Latifi in the pit lane. Also coming into the pits, Nikita Mazepin. Also in the pits, Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis, once again, pitting early. Didn't work out for him last time out in Japan. Comes out side by side with former rival Fernando Alonso. And you know these two guys have had history, but a bit of contact, but Hamilton gets ahead. Alonso pits on the very next lap, as does most of the field, and we are staying out. We're going long now. We're going to try and come back at these guys later in the Grand Prix. We've got Yuki Tsunoda behind us. Valtteri Bottas, though, out of the race, so that charge that Bottas has been on, the recent form, he was leading the Grand Prix as well, I believe, and now he's out of the Grand Prix there in Sector 1. I was hoping for a safety car here to have a cheap pit stop, but did not happen. No VSC either, just green flag here on lap 10. You can see we haven't got much grip left, and Tsunoda right behind us. He's gonna make an easy pass here on the straight. I don't know if he's pitted or not yet, Tsunoda. I think he hasn't, but he obviously yeah, he's coming to the pits now.
Christian is in the pits. Christian in the pits.
And so is my teammate Lungard, as Jeff Awerley updates us. Yeah, we got Ricciardo actually 3 seconds behind. Remember, he came in on lap 1, so we are racing Ricciardo at this stage because he'd have to stop again, but I think that will be later in the Grand Prix. You can see now Ricciardo's gotten ahead of us. He's got much more pace here. On lap 12, we finally give it up and decide to come into the pit lane. Our pace was terrible in these last few laps, but I was doing it to have just better tyres for the second half of the race. We're going on a medium tyre to the end of the Grand Prix, and we're going to be a fair way behind, but hopefully with the fresh tyres we're able to make good inroads on the field. So you can see where everybody is.
Exit now.
And we will come out
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
behind this huge train, which is Alonso, Mazepin, Tsunoda. So I don't know if we were pulling away from this train or not, but yeah, or what the case was, but they were obviously not lapping very quickly for us to be this close. I didn't expect to be this close behind Yuki Tsunoda, who, remember, overtook us. So went for a move there on, well, I didn't actually go for a move, I just had to kind of avoid one. The AI were braking early into that corner, and Tsunoda obviously turned across, and at first I thought it caused damage, but because the car immediately I felt like some understeer in the car, but I think that was just me thinking he's broken my wing there slightly, but I don't think it has affected my car based off the rest of how my pace ended up being. So anyway, we're now going to try and move back through the field here on Yuki Tsunoda for 19th place. And I don't know why Sebastian Vettel is so far behind either, but we're actually going to turn this into a double overtake, are we? Mazepin turns in, but we are having none of it, and we barge our way through for 18th place. So now we've got 3 cars, the 2 Alpines and Kimi Raikkonen in an Alpine sandwich here. And look how much more grip we got. They are going slow here as well, but the new tyre working dividends there, and Fernando Alonso just drove right around the outside of him at turn 15. That's a bit embarrassing for the double world champion, so maybe retirement could be a better option for him than joining us here at Xeno Racing. But now you can see Raikkonen goes defensive into the last corner, and we are also going to drive around another former world champion here around the outside as easy as you like. We don't get a great exit, to be honest, but a bit of slipstream from Ocon, battery and DRS. No slipstream for Raikkonen helps us just slightly nudge our nose ahead into turn 1. We still were able to drive around the outside at turn 1 and get the move done. So now we've got Ocon up next here, and he hasn't got any DRS assistance, so this will be a much easier overtake. And open the DRS, and you can see Ocon, he goes to the inside. I just choose the racing line because I know I'm going to get ahead and want to have the best braking ability for turn 12. So we now move into 15th position, as Raikkonen has also gotten ahead of Esteban Ocon. You can see here Giovinazzi and Latifi in the pit lane. So you've got Ricciardo up ahead, and then you've got Schumacher up ahead, who is now stopping, and we've got George Russell up ahead on the hard tyre. George is going to the end of the race, currently in P11. Ricciardo ahead is not. We're not going to be able to catch him. But there's Lundgaard pitting. So now this fight between us and Russell is for a point, and Lundgaard is actually going to come out just behind Kimi Raikkonen. So that's we've got about 8-9 seconds to Lundgaard, and I was thinking he's got a fresh medium, and he's been pretty much on my pace this weekend, Christian, so he might be able to close down the gap to me and George. Well, so I knew I had to get past Russell to give myself that 1 point, and we're going to do that here on lap 21. Russell hasn't got he's on the worst tyre, and I've now got DRS using my battery. George hasn't really got a chance here, so we move past Russell into 10th place.
Good job, nice overtake.
And now we've got Lundgaard as well making a move on Kimi Raikkonen on this very lap. So now Lundgaard is clear of Kimi. I thought he was going to start closing the gap and catching us, but you can see here we've pulled the gap 3 seconds only to George Russell, a couple of tenths a lap. Whereas Christian, he's only really pulled half a second, maybe a second on us, really, because it was about 9.5. It's now 8.5 to us. So in 7 laps, it's a bit disappointing from Lundgaard not to get up to Russell at least. But anyway, we're going to come across the line and finish in 10th place and get 1 point.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Some amazing talents out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Jackson. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern-day Formula One.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So that was the US Grand Prix. Max Verstappen takes a Red Bull 1-2 finish here with Carlos Sainz picking up a podium for Ferrari. Hamilton only manages to finish in 4th place after starting 8th on the grid, and now Verstappen started 6th. So the Red Bull car quite quick this weekend in America, because remember, he had a 5th place grid penalty, so that was effectively pole, back to 6th, and was still able to win the Grand Prix. We pick up 1 point once again, so it's our 2nd consecutive points finish in a row here. But actually, yeah, 2nd consecutive points finish in a row with the 2 10th place finishes. So that's only 1 point, but all the points matter for us at this stage. Lundgaard, 12th place. I was hoping he could at least catch Russell. He wasn't able to. Without my spin, maybe I'm up there battling with Gasly and Ricciardo. And Stroll as well had a pretty strong race today. So here's the championship standings. Hamilton has a 2 race gap over Valtteri Bottas after his unfortunate retirement from the race today. So Hamilton very much in control of his championship here. We're sitting currently 15th on 20 points, and if we go to the teams, we're a long way behind Aston Martin at this stage. So we'll have a look at the breakdown stuff. There's not much we can do to compete with Norris, really, although we were up behind him at a stage in this Grand Prix before I did have that spin early on in the Grand Prix. I still think the McLaren is a much faster car. We advance here and get some development failures, which is not ideal for Mexico. So anyway, we had to fix those, which is fine. But anyway, that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more career mode content, and until next time, I will see you then. Goodbye.